Alright, this is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and yet on another field trip actually. This one's going to be really cool here in South Florida, and today I'm going to share with you guys how to grow food undercover. You know, there's many places, like actually there's a place, I think Miami Shores, that recently passed a law for the city that you can't grow an edible vegetable garden in your front yard. Actually what happened was a family who has grown a garden, a front yard garden, for the last 17 years, got a notice just in March that a new law had passed that bans growing food in your front yard, or more specifically vegetables. Although they could grow fruits like strawberries and maybe fruit trees and other things. So what we're gonna do in this episode is kind of say to the city and show you guys how you can grow some edible things in your front yard, but not have it be a vegetable garden. And actually, even better than a vegetable garden, this is almost like a medicinal garden. So you're gonna have to stay tuned for what specific crop that this family is growing a lot of. So the first thing is, we are here in suburbia. As you guys can see, everybody has their front yard lawn. And once again, I'm gonna say that I believe lawns are a waste of resources. They take a lot of water, a lot of pesticides, and a lot of, you know, herbicides and fertilizers and whatnot. And a very small percentage of the standard fertilizers that people use on their lawns are actually giving nutrients to the lawn. Most of it is being run off into the sewer system, the storm drain, all this kind of stuff. In addition, most people just have a lawn because their neighbor has a lawn. And you know, how many kids do you see playing on lawns? Like zero. I mean, maybe if you had kids, it'd be a good use to have a lawn, but I'm all about, you know, practicality and making the best use of your space. We all need to eat, so I think the best use of your space is to grow some food. And that's why I travel all around to share with you guys, you know, ways that different people grow food differently. So I'm glad to share with you guys this one today. So next, let's go ahead and pan the camera around and show you guys why I'm here today. All right, so as you guys can see, over on this side of the street right here, there's a house. And it looks like the house is almost like a standard house. Half the yard has a lawn. And they have actually a fig tree and a pomegranate tree, and I always recommend and encourage you guys to grow fruit trees if you're still gonna have a lawn, because you could grow some trees above the lawn. Nobody's gonna know, and it's gonna produce food for you and your family. And especially here in South Florida, I recommend you guys grow tropical fruits. Definitely some of my favorite. In addition, besides just the lawn and some fruit trees, they have an aquaponics setup in the back, as well as some other things growing in the backyard, more fruit trees actually. And then actually they have a nice sapodilla tree, or chico sapote tree, one of my favorite fruits, called the brown sugar fruit. It's loaded with fruit, but it's not going to be ripe for, I don't know, till next year. In addition, they got a really cool moringa tree. I know a lot of you guys know about moringa already, and most people know about the standard moringa oleifera, but this is a different variety of moringa, and it's my favorite one that I've ever found so far. So we're going to look at that as well. And then down below their fruit trees, you'll see, like, it's literally an aloe garden. And yes, aloe is a succulent, but it's an edible succulent. And this is a very special aloe. So be sure to stay tuned for the segment at the end of this clip where we talk about the aloe. This family really loves their aloe. It's apparent by pretty much 3/4 of their yard is taken up in aloe, and they have aloe baby pups growing at every corner. So first, let's go ahead and head to the backyard and share with you guys actually what's growing back there. All right, so now we're in the backyard, and this place is not quite a jungle, but they have plenty of fruit trees in the back. As you guys can see behind me, there's a nice star fruit tree. If you do live in South Florida, that's one tree you probably want to get. It puts on multiple crops a year. Many fruit trees might just like make apples, you know, 1 month, and then that's it for the whole year. But the star fruit can produce, you know, 2, maybe 3 times a year. And before you buy a star fruit, you want to make sure you get a good variety, because there's some varieties that are like really good and sweet, and some varieties aren't so good. So make sure you get a named cultivar. And then next to the star fruit, they have a huge, gigantic avocado. Now this is the Florida avocado, so it's the watery avocado. And the funny thing is, they don't particularly care for it because it's too watery. But me, coming from California, where we always get the buttery avocados, I don't like the buttery avocados. I've had them my whole life. I rarely get to have the Florida avocados. So to me, it's a real big treat to have them, but unfortunately, it doesn't have any fruit on it right now. But this tree makes avocados literally this big. They're super huge, super delicious. I wish they were around so I could have one. In addition, they got a nice huge mango tree and a whole bunch of different containers with other trees. So once again, trees are one of the easiest things to grow. They're really low maintenance, unlike a vegetable garden where you may get a lot of different bugs and disease and have to attend to it every day. The tree, if you just set it up right, give it some good nutrition in the soil, compost, rock dust, the mycorrhiza, the beneficial bacteria in the soil, they're going to produce for you reliably. Especially here in South Florida where it rains so much, you literally might not even have to, water your tree. Talking about water, let's go see another cool thing that uses a lot of water here. Actually, I think they got maybe about 200 gallons of water sitting right next to me in an aquaponics system. So now what we're looking at is their aquaponics setup here. This is the standard IBC tote, maybe like a 250 gallon tote. They've kind of left, they cut it off and they left 3/4 of it down below. And this is literally a nice huge fish tank. Wow, there's a lot of fish in here. Let's see if I can catch one. Nope, too slow. But there's these huge fish in there. And what this does is basically got fish in the bottom. They feed the fish poop and pee in the water. Wait, I got poo and pee water on my hands. Alright, so what happens is they pump that water up to the top here, and the plants take out the nutrition of the pee and poop to feed the plants, and then the water goes back down so that the fish get clean water. This is a really good system to grow food in. This is their first aquaponic system, so much like anything, I always encourage you guys to learn as you grow. I mean, it's not always going to be perfect the first time you plant a garden, plant a tree, do aquaponics. They're learning as they're growing, and that's the fun thing of life. They're going to learn, oh, well, hey, we built this and it's doing pretty good because the fish need some shade, but because this is like a little orchid garden area, the plants don't get enough sun actually, so they're actually going to move this top piece over into a sunny area, but they're going to keep the fish tank here and just run some pipes over so that now the plants will be able to get more sun. One of the things I like to grow in aquaponics here in South Florida are herbs. They seem to do the best, whereas some of the fruiting crops, I don't know, I'd probably tend to grow more leafy greens and things like that. Well, I know some watercress and water chestnuts would be some of my top picks to grow here in South Florida in a nice wet environment. I guess the next thing I really want to show you guys is what's behind the aquaponics setup here in this little greenhouse area. It's those special aloe plants that I've talked about, and they got patches of aloe here, there. I mean, this family's really into their aloe. Alright, so here's the real reason why I came here to make a video for you guys. It's because of these guys right here. This is the aloe vera, but this is not just any aloe vera. This is a special variety of aloe vera that is not normally commonly available. Many people know that aloe vera is good for sunburns, and people say that it's good for healing digestive issues and healing other things as well. But not all aloes are created equal. I happen to like and have been propagating and growing the Japanese aloe that actually is the non-bitter skin variety. This one actually has a nice bitter skin due to the alanine in there, which is actually not good to eat. But this has some of the highest levels of nutrition of all aloes. And what this is actually Aloe vera barbanensis, and that's the common aloe. But furthermore, it's actually Aloe vera barbanensis Miller, which is what many common aloe veras sold in the store. When you go buy a little aloe plant they're actually Aloe vera barbanensis Miller. But this is even a further refinement. This is actually Aloe vera barbanensis Miller Stockton. So it's a special cultivar of aloe that's been tested and shown to have the highest level of healing properties of any aloe out there. And that's why I truly came here today to see all these aloes growing and to learn more about them. So in the back here they just have a little nursery with a whole bunch of different aloe plants. In the front yard we're going to go ahead and see the older mature plants. So the industry standard for aloe, if they're harvesting aloe to make a liquid or a juice that you would buy at your health food store, the plants have to be at minimum 4 or 5 years old. Because think about it, as the plant is growing, it's literally concentrating the nutrients. It's pulling nutrients, all the nutrients from the soil, and putting it into the plant. And the longer the plant can do this, the more nutrition it has. So if you harvest a baby leaf, this baby leaf has only been growing, I don't even know, like 6 months. and it's not gonna have as much nutrition as a 5-year-old plant would. So that's something to remember. You know, you wanna always harvest the most mature, oldest leaves on the aloe vera. Think about it, you know, if you have a fruit tree, you're not gonna harvest the fruit, you know, when they just show up, like apples when they're still green. You want them to turn to red and be fully ripe, because this way the apple tree has the apple on the tree for the longest period of time, and it gets to develop all the full flavors, the full ripeness, and get more than nutrition, like the vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and phytonutrients in there for you to enjoy. So I guess with that, you saw all these little baby pups that actually they've taken off their mother plants and they potted up to grow. We're gonna go in the front yard now, which is their main aloe vera patch in their front yard, which not only looks beautiful, not only will not attract the city to, you know, say take out your vegetable garden, because it's not a vegetable garden, it's an aloe vera garden. And the cool thing is it's also water saving. They actually don't water it because it does rain enough here in South Florida to keep the aloe vera garden growing. All right, now we're in the front yard, and before I share with you guys this beautiful aloe patch, we're gonna go ahead and talk about one of the trees here besides the Chico Sapote tree or Sapodilla tree I love so much, which aren't quite in season. We're gonna talk about a tree that I think everybody should be growing in their front yard, especially if they live in South Florida. This tree cannot handle the frost. If you live somewhere where it's gonna frost, grow it in a container and bring it in the winter time, put it under some lights. But if you live in South Florida, you definitely wanna grow one of these outside, and it's the moringa tree, but it's not just any moringa. You know, there's different varieties of moringa, and this is actually the first time I got to actually see, smell, and taste moringa. And let me tell you, this smells amazing. So let's go ahead and check that one out. Now we're gonna get to share with you guys the moringa tree here, and this is just not any old moringa. You know, normally when people say moringa, they think of Moringa oleifera, and that's the one that's most common. And this one is actually called Moringa stenopetala, and it's actually much more rare. I actually haven't seen it too much. This one's actually from India, and if you guys see the trunk, it's nice and wide. It's not like the baobab trunk, like huge, but it's a nice thick trunk. This guy's maybe like 6-7 years old now, and it has those nice leaves, and the leaves look similar to the standard moringa that you guys might be used to, but it's a fair bit different. And much like the standard moringa, all these leaves are edible. So I mean, you could literally come out here and pick leaves and eat them for salad. Nice flavor. Kind of has like a mild nutty flavor with a fairly hot and spicy aftertaste. Woo! Light your mouth up. The reason why I'm pulling on this branch is because I want to get down here for you guys. Let's see if we can see this on the camera here. Oops, I'm breaking some of the branches here. It's alright, they grow really fast. Oh my god. So here's what I want to show you guys. This little flower bunch. Check this out. These are the moringa flowers, and let me tell you guys, if you live in South Florida, you gotta grow these like next to your window as the breeze rolls into your house and it rolls by these flowers. Oh my god, it's one of the most heavenly scents I've ever smelt. Maybe if I had a special someone, I'd rub this all over her and just want to sit and smell her all day. One of my favorite flowers is the Lang Lang flower. For those of you guys that have smelled Lang Lang, I mean, this is like one of the top 3 favorite smelling flowers that I've ever smelled. Whew, who knew? It's like, smells like a jasmine, floral. Man, it's so amazing. My other favorite actually flower is actually Jerusalem artichoke flower. That one has an amazing scent as well. Now, besides just having an amazing scent, all these little flowers, they're edible too. They're not quite as strong tasting as the leaves. In addition, they got a little bit of pollen in there. The pollen is what the bees come around and collect, right? So they could have their bee pollen. But you could get the pollen free and clear of pollen. It's actually high in amino acids. So you may want to eat some moringa flowers and actually other edible flowers in your garden once in a while. These guys are delicious. Now, besides just the flowers, this will also make the moringa pods, which are also edible, and they can be used to actually clean water. I went to a place called Echo in Fort Myers that you may want to check my past videos on to check out Echo. It's an amazing place, and they really are up on the moringa. And they would put dirty water in a bottle with the crushed up pods, shake it up, and it actually would clean the water. Now, I don't think this... So that's totally amazing. So I want to show you guys the uniqueness of these pods. They're kind of like long and straight and twisted. Kind of like Twisted Sister. All right, here I am, and here's the pod. This thing is like really cool. It's like long and kind of twisted. I don't know if you guys could see that on the camera. These pods are really cool, and they're actually quite valuable. You're gonna wanna let your pods mature up and then get the seeds out of here, and especially if you got the Moringa stenopetalia like this, these seeds are actually quite rare, so you're gonna save these seeds and be able to send those to people so that they could grow more. In addition, a common way the Moringa is propagated is simply by taking cuttings of the branches and just literally stick them in the ground. They will root, and then you'll have a new plant. And these guys grow really fast. I don't know if you guys could see, but they've had to do a lot of trimming to this, because if they didn't keep hacking it back and trimming it, this thing would be ginormous. Next, let's take a look at the aloe, which is the #1 reason why I came here today. So now we're looking at the aloe vera garden here in the front yard. As you guys can see, there's just tons and tons of aloe vera plants as far as the eye can see. In addition, near the windows, they got little window boxes with little baby aloe plants. I mean, they've shoved aloe plants in every nook and cranny of this front yard for a really good reason, actually. It's one of the most healing foods, and actually the family here consumes, glasses of aloe every single day. In history, aloe has been used for healing. Think about it. Alexander got into wars and, over in islands to basically take over an island so that he could have access to the aloe, because he knew it healed his soldiers. I mean, think about it, right? Aloe vera is used to put on sunburn, so it heals a sunburn faster, right? And many people these days buy aloe vera gel in a little bottle, right? Instead of buying stuff in packages, bottles, and jars, I want you guys to grow the real thing, man. And if you need aloe for a sunburn, grow your own aloe, cut it off the plant, and put it on your sunburn, man. That's absolutely the best, unprocessed goodness. It's said that even Cleopatra bathed in aloe vera. So if you're a princess like Cleopatra, maybe you want to bathe in aloe vera as well. But for the rest of us, actually, I have heard many testimonials of people getting better from things like cancer, viruses, diabetes, intestinal disorders, and all this kind of stuff by just simply including aloe and making other healthy dietary changes, like including more fresh fruits and vegetables and getting all the processed foods out. Definitely, after learning and hearing about some of the things I've learned about aloe today, I definitely want to start consuming it as much as I can and as quickly as I can. One of the things that I want you guys to know is that, I always encourage you guys to grow the food yourself instead of buying it. If you just go buy aloe vera in the store, in the health food store, as much as it is really good, not all aloe veras that are in a bottle are the same. Many have been, highly processed, and I want to get processed foods out of your guys' diet, whether it's processed hamburgers, processed cheeseburgers, processed Nabiscos, processed breads or cookies. I want you guys to eat out of your garden. So better than even, buying processed aloe in a bottle, which actually goes through multiple steps and maybe doing some not so natural things to it. It's best to just grow your own, harvest it, and eat it for the highest benefit. That being said, if you are going to grow it, I want to encourage you guys to grow the best variety based on my research. The best variety based on my research is this variety here. It's the Aloe Vera Barbanensis Miller Stockton. This is a specific variety that has higher nutrient density of some of the specific healing compounds than other varieties that I have seen. One of the things they're fairly anal about here is keeping the genetics clean. We all know that we do not want to eat genetically modified foods, and we don't even want people growing it, because if corn, genetically modified corn, is growing, the pollen drifts and contaminates organic corn, then there'll be contaminated organic corn and there won't be any purity. They're really serious about keeping the purity on this variety. So what they do is when they see a flower, like it's starting to flower here, so that the flower is not able to get cross-pollinated with a different kind of aloe, they'll literally take a knife and they'll cut off the flowering top. So now this cannot actually go to flower and not crossbreed and contaminate this specific variety that is so high in healing potential. In addition, when your plants go to flower, right, the flowers steal the nutrients that would normally go into the leaves. So now by cutting this, we're gonna basically ensure that the leaves have the most and highest level of nutrition. So aloe vera is a very durable plant. Literally here in the South Florida, they just don't water this. And yes, there's areas of the yard where the plants are doing a lot better, like underneath the moringa tree where I am now. It looks like to be a lot healthier than over in some other areas that may get a little bit more sun or maybe get a little bit less water. And the care is really easy. I mean, one of the things you do not want to do with the aloe is you do not want to overwater your aloe. I know many people like, oh, I love my plants, I want to give them more water, show my affection. No, it's like if you could dunk a kid that can't swim in water, that's not showing affection. They'll drown, right? And your aloe and your other plants can drown as well. So they are a succulent plant, and actually they store water in their leaves for a reason, because they're meant to be in dry climates that maybe sometimes don't get as much rainfall, so that they can survive, you know, weather events. So just plant this in some good soil with some good drainage. You don't want to be planting in, you know, clay soil or nothing that doesn't drain out, because you're probably going to get root rot. And you know, some good sun, and they're going to grow great for you. Now, yes, you can even grow aloe vera inside in the winter. For many years I actually had an aloe vera plant inside my bathroom. Plants are good inside also because they clean the air. But you can grow aloe vera inside, and remember this, the more sun your plants get, whether it's aloe or anything else, the more it's going to grow and the faster it's going to grow. If you have an aloe vera inside in the windowsill, it's definitely going to grow faster than an aloe vera in the bathroom where there's no window, right? But that just gets the light turned on once in a while. So if you really want to have the maximum amount of production, you really want to put it in the sunniest location possible. So what we're going to do next, actually share with you guys one of the aloe plants here that's been growing for several years, and once it grows for several years, it makes babies. And what we're going to do today in this video is to separate the babies and share with you guys how you can do that once you start your own little aloe orchard in your front yard. Alright, so now we're going to show you guys how to subdivisions your aloe. So once you have an aloe plant, you've planted it and it's grown for a period of time, it will make what's called pups, or little babies. What these pups or babies are, if you look down by the side here at the base of the plant, literally this mother plant basically sends out roots and sends out little runners and makes brand new plants. And this is how the aloe plant will basically reproduce. And so what we're going to do in this segment is actually we're just going to go ahead and pull up this plant, show you guys the root ball, and also show you guys how to separate the babies. Also, we're going to clean up the bottom of this plant and share some more cool aloe vera facts with you about the Aloe vera barbanensis Miller Stockton variety. So first what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and carefully take this plant with two hands, kind of shake it and tip it over. We're going to basically uproot this guy, and it's actually coming up fairly easily, but what we have to look out for is they've got these little stickers. Now they're not as sharp as roses, but they could definitely get you, and it's not fun. So we're just going to go ahead and carefully uproot this guy, and as you guys can see, this is pretty shallow, and we got all the rocks here coming up, and we're just going to go ahead and wobble this a little bit and get it out, and there it is. Got this guy uprooted now. And this bottom is actually, you know, doesn't even go that deep down, and as you guys can see, all these little pups that were attached to the roots here just come out. So now this little guy, you could plant this in your garden and have the same exact variety, the Aloe vera barbanensis Miller Stockton variety. So here's, like, check it out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, that's a lot. We got 5 there, and there's a whole bunch on the backside that I covered up. Oh, and they got crushed. 6, 7, this one's a big one. 8, 9, 10. Wow, 10 little babies off this. And we're gonna even divide this guy a little bit further and make 11 total plants we can replant from 1. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off this bottom part, because the cool thing about aloe is it had to live in nature for millions of years and animals eating it and all this kind of stuff, and it's very hardy. So what we're gonna do is we're literally gonna cut this off right here and cut the roots off the plant. We can then plant the root ball and even subdivide the root ball, because on the root ball there's different little pups starting to form and come out. We're gonna actually hack it off right here, clean it up, and then we're gonna be able to plant this top whole section, and it's gonna re-root again. So this is how you could easily divide the aloe. So we could use a knife to cut this, but this is pretty strong. So my grandfather told me the right tool for the right job. We got a DeWalt Sawzall here, man. All right, ready? I cut you off, aloe. Man, that was quite easy. So here it is. We got the bottom all cut off. And I want to show you guys on here. I mean, check it out. You see this little green stuff kind of growing out? These are the little pups forming. So say we split this in half. We could plant one half, and these pups on this side would come out. And then there's pups coming out on the other side as well. So that's another division. Now what we're going to do is off the bottom here, we're going to go ahead and clean this up, because it got kind of like messed up, because some of the leaves, when they get harvested, if you don't pull the whole leaf off, they shrivel and dry up. It looks unsightly and unkept, and these all come off in order. So we're just going to go ahead and find which one comes off one at a time, and check it out. This is how the aloe leaves grow, like in a little circle. All right, so it looks like I got all these leaves that are not alive off, and now we're going to start pulling off the live leaves. Always when harvesting your aloe, you want to harvest from the base of the plant first. And some of these leaves, for example, are kind of like getting old, so they're not optimal to be eating. If I only had like one plant, I'd probably actually use these guys, but they have a ton here, so I'm not going to bother with this guy today. Probably just get composted. In addition, here's one that was previously cut. Check it out. I like how that just comes off just like that. Once again, this one's kind of like more older, kind of like light green, not super vibrant. When you harvest the leaves, you want to get nice fat leaves, and once again, you want to harvest your old mature leaves. Like 4 to 5 years is the optimal time for the highest health benefit. You know, if you have a plant and you just can't wait, yeah, start harvesting them now. You want to be sure to buy a bunch of plants so that you can harvest like one leaf off each one, so you're not taking too quickly, because if you take all the leaves off the plant, it won't be able to grow no more. Let's see here, we're carefully figuring out which leaf comes next. This was one that looks like it had been previously harvested. Here's one that's previously all dried out here. This is really cool how they come off. I've never harvested them by the bottom before. And you could actually see, you know, the layers, you know, which one's gonna come off next. All right, there's the next one. You can see the comparison between like the thickness of that and the thickness of this. This one's a lot more thick and like rounded out, so this one has a lot larger stores of the, not only the water inside the aloe, but also all the nutrition. All right, so we're gonna harvest this last one. This is the one I really want to eat right here. It's nice, fat, thick, and full of liquid juice. Once we're done with that, we're gonna have a little torch here, much like the Statue of Liberty. Should I pose for you guys? Dun, 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 dun. Wait, that's the Olympic song. Anyways, as you guys can see, I trimmed this down. Looks nice and pretty now. And it has a little stalk here that if we just plant this in the ground, this will actually re-root. One of the cool things about the aloe vera Miller Stockton variety is in the middle. Basically, how these leaves form, they form 3 leaves at a time. So you can kind of see these smallest middle leaves kind of formed at the same time, and then these outside 3 leaves. So it's like 3 sisters kind of grow at the same time. So it's recommended when you harvest the 3 leaves at the same time. Definitely really cool. Another way you could tell if you have this specific variety of aloe vera barbanensis Miller Stockton, they have nice dark yellow flowers when they go to flower. In addition, you'll notice that this aloe vera here doesn't have any white dots on it for the mature ones. The mature leaves up here don't have any dots, but check it out. If we take a look at some of these little younger pups, right? Check it out. They got all the little dots on there like you're used to seeing. So this is another way you could tell that you have, you know, the aloe vera Miller Stockton. Now you need to have all these criteria met, such as the 3 leaves forming, plus the little spots on the babies but not on the big ones, plus a nice dark yellow flower. These are some ways you can tell that you have this specific, most healing variety of aloe. So what I'm gonna do next is just literally plant this guy back in the ground. So all we need to do is try to figure out where we had this before. And we want to make sure we get, you know, into the dirt, not just the rocks. And actually the aloe vera loves the native soil here in South Florida. You know, it's pretty much kind of sandy soil. So, I mean, don't say, oh, John, I live in South Florida, can't grow anything. Well, grow some aloe vera, man. This stuff's meant for the sandy soil. Of course, I encourage you guys to enrich your sandy soil with things like the rock dust and the mycorrhiza and the trace minerals and the worm castings and all that good stuff that I show you guys in my other videos. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to do that. You know, I have lots of helpful videos to teach you guys how to grow your own food at home. All right, so we got down into the nice sandy soil, removing some of the rocks. We're simply gonna take our torch. Man, this guy's pretty heavy. We're gonna set it in there, and then we're just gonna backfill. Wow. That thing's majorly smaller, looks a lot more pretty, and I got a lot of aloe vera leaves and also pups. Next, what I want to do is I want to show you guys actually how to use the aloe vera leaves. You know, aloe vera in this form, if you just tried to bite into it, can actually be not so healthy. What's happening right now is there's this yellow stuff that's actually bleeding out, and if you smell it, it smells bad, man. It smells like the worst BO you could have, and some of it actually just dripped on me. Ugh, that's gross. So this stuff is called the alanine, and this is the stuff actually you do not want to eat. You do not want to eat the green part or the yellow sap that comes out. Actually, this is known as a laxative. So if you're having special guests over that are your enemies, actually you could feed them this stuff instead of X-Lax, and they'll be on the pot all day. But I'm going to show you guys next actually how to fillet properly your aloe vera to get rid of all the alanine content so you can have the healing and most healthful part of the aloe. It's that clear liquid gel in the middle. Alright, this is John Koga with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and I'm on a field trip. I'm all the way down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Gotta say,